She didn't know I was watching. The lights were off. I sat in the living room like a shadow, just me and the steady tick of the wall clock. 3:06 a.m. when the key finally scraped the lock. She came in with that half-drunken stumble that always screamed guilt. Heels in one hand, phone in the other, lips red like she'd just wiped them off in a rush. Her hair was messy. No, destroyed. And her jacket was half falling off her shoulder like she'd forgotten it even existed. Jessica. I didn't move. Didn't say a word. Just waited. She walked through the front door like nothing was wrong. Like I hadn't texted her 3 hours ago and gotten nothing but a "love you, babe. Don't wait up, red heart," in return. She was whispering something into her phone, then laughing, then click, screen off the second she stepped inside. She still hadn't seen me. She passed right by me. That's what stung first. She walked right by and I was right there. Invisible. She reeked of sweet perfume and sweat and something underneath that twisted my stomach in ways I can't even put into words. She kicked off her heels, started heading down the hallway, and that's when I flicked on the light. She flinched like a shot went off, spun around, and her expression told me everything before a single lie could leave her mouth. Eyes wide, throat tightening, phone gripped like a weapon. "Oh my God, Matt. You scared me," she said, voice already laced with venom, like I had done something wrong. I stood, slowly. "Where were you?" She blinked, pushed her hair back, and didn't answer right away. "Out," she said finally. "With the girls. I told you." "Told me what?" I stepped closer. "You told me you were going to Melissa's. You said it was her birthday thing, and you'd be home by 1. She scoffed. "So what, you're clocking me now?" Jesus, Matt. I lost track of time. I was drinking. God forbid I have fun for once. For once. That one hit. I watched her face shift, subtle, but it was there. A flicker of panic under all that fake irritation. I stepped closer. "You said you were with Melissa." I unlocked my phone. She posted a story at 12:11. Home. In pajamas. Alone. Jessica's mouth opened, then closed again. I could see the scramble. Like watching a glitching robot trying to reboot mid-lie. "She left early," she said quickly. "I stayed with Britt." Britt posted at 1:30. Alone. Also at home. "You want to try again? Or are you going to keep insulting me?" Her jaw clenched. Then she laughed. This brittle, sarcastic laugh like this was some joke I wasn't in on. "Oh my God. You're stalking my friends now? What is wrong with you?" She turned, tried to walk past me, but I blocked her path. "I saw your texts, Jess." That stopped her cold. "What?" I held up her old phone. The one she used to keep in her gym bag. The one she must have forgotten about after she switched last month. Still synced to her cloud. I saw everything. She didn't move. Didn't blink. I said the name. The name I found in over 40 messages sent at 2 a.m. last Friday. Her silence told me everything I needed to know. And still, she smirked. That's when I realized she wasn't sorry. She was daring me to care. She didn't deny it. That's the part that keeps playing in my head. Out of everything, the lies, the vanishing acts, the stupid smirks, it was that dead silence after I said his name. Ryan. She just stood there in that wrinkled black dress, face still flushed from whatever the hell she'd been doing with him, and she smirked. Like it was funny. Like I was pathetic for finally catching up. I wasn't even angry in that moment. I wish I had been. I wish I'd yelled, slammed something, broke down, anything. But no, I just felt quiet, hollow, like a chair that had the legs kicked out from underneath it. "So what now?" she said finally. Like this was some awkward work meeting and not the absolute gutting of our marriage. She crossed her arms, leaned on one hip. "You're gonna throw a tantrum? Kick me out?" I swear to God, I had to look away. Because if I'd kept my eyes on her any longer, I think I might have screamed. "How long?" I asked. She rolled her eyes. Rolled her eyes. "Does it even matter?" That was her answer. "Does it even matter?" I stepped back. Put the phone down on the table so I wouldn't smash it. I didn't trust myself with anything in my hands. "Tell me how long," I repeated. She sighed like I was boring her. A few months. Maybe more. It was supposed to be just a hookup. But, I don't know. He actually listens to me. That one hit. He listens to me. I'm not even sure what kind of twisted logic that was. Like I hadn't sat through every conversation, every vent session about her job, her family, her anxiety about getting older. Like I hadn't stayed up until 2 a.m. helping her rewrite her resume or stood outside Target for 2 hours because she couldn't decide which curtain set felt more adult. I listened. For years. But sure, Ryan, who drives a leased Dodge Charger and works part-time as a brand consultant, he's the one who listens. I finally said, so that's it. She shrugged. I don't know. I didn't plan on telling you like this. No apology. No shame. Just this cold indifference like she was discussing a scheduling conflict. Then she had the nerve to say, honestly, I thought you'd cheat on me first. I froze. What? You've been so distant, she said, like it was something I'd done on purpose. And you don't even try anymore. I mean, look at you. When's the last time you made me feel wanted? I laughed. I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, but because of how delusional it was. I'd been chasing her for the past year like a dog begging for scraps. Dates. Compliments. Trying to get her to see me again. She was the one who pulled away. She was the one who stopped texting back, stopped reaching out, stopped saying goodnight. And now I was the bad guy? For not groveling hard enough? She walked to the kitchen, opened the fridge like we hadn't just detonated the world we built. Took out a bottle of water. Drank. Looked at me like I was the one in her house uninvited. Are you leaving? She asked, dead serious. You want me to? She shrugged. I mean, what else are we gonna do? Sit here and cry about it. I nodded slowly. Then I went upstairs. Grabbed a bag. A few clothes. My charger. As I walked down the hall past the bedroom, I saw it, the earring she'd lost earlier. On my nightstand. Next to the picture of us at our wedding. I left them both there. She didn't follow me out. Didn't call. Didn't say a single thing. The silence in the car was louder than any argument we'd ever had. I sat there in the driveway for 23 minutes. Not moving. Not breathing right. Just staring at the dashboard, gripping the steering wheel so tight my fingers were trembling. Her perfume was still on me from when I hugged her earlier that evening before she left for her girls' night. That same perfume, now sour in my nose. Cloying. Fake. I didn't cry. Not then. I just kept thinking, that's it? That's how it ends? Not with a fight. Not with some explosive scene. Just indifference. Shrugs. That casual, dead look in her eyes when she said, are you leaving? Like she didn't care either way. I didn't even know where I was driving. My brother Nate lives 30 minutes out of town, so I headed that direction. I didn't call him. Just showed up, bag in hand, face blank. He opened the door in gym shorts and a hoodie, blinking like he couldn't believe it was me. Matt, he said. You good? No, I replied, and that's when it cracked. I broke. I didn't scream. I didn't rage. I sank. Right there in his entryway. Bag dropped to the floor. I sat down, back against the wall, and the words came out between breaths I couldn't catch. She cheated on me. He didn't ask questions. He just sat down beside me. For 20 minutes we didn't speak. That silence was the first time I felt safe all night. Later, after I calmed down, I told him everything, how I caught her, what she said, the way she laughed. And that smirk, man. I couldn't get it out of my head. Like she was proud of herself. Like I deserved it. Nate didn't say much. Just listened. Nodded. But his eyes, he looked like he wanted to break something for me. She's a garbage person, bro, he said finally. Always has been. You just loved her too much to see it. I hated how right he was. I stayed on his couch that night. Didn't sleep. Just laid there, staring at the ceiling fan spin in circles. Her voice kept echoing in my head. I didn't plan on telling you like this. He actually listens to me. What, you're clocking me now? I thought about all the times I ignored my gut. The lies that didn't quite fit. The smiles that never reached her eyes anymore. The way she'd pick fights out of nowhere just to leave the house angry. She wanted this. She wanted an excuse. And Ryan? Ryan was just the dumbass who gave her one. Sometime around 5 a.m. I checked her cloud account again. I shouldn't have. I already knew enough. But I did it anyway. More texts. More pictures. A video from his apartment. Her in his hoodie. Her laughing, sitting on his lap, flipping off the camera like a teenager. Caption. Your wife says hi, bro. I locked the phone. My chest actually hurt. Like physically. I wanted to throw the phone into the wall, but I didn't. I needed the evidence. I needed to be smart now. She wanted to play games? Fine. Let's see how she handles when the game turns real. I didn't go home the next day. Didn't text. Didn't call. Let her sit in the silence. Let her wonder. Because I finally realized something, she didn't expect me to leave. She expected me to break, beg, maybe even apologize. That's the kind of person Jessica is, the kind who cheats, lies, then flips the script so hard you question if you somehow caused the whole thing. And for a long time, I'd let her. I made space for her moods. Justified her detachment. Gave her every benefit of the doubt until there was nothing left to give. But now I was done playing dumb. By mid-morning, the calls started. First one at 10:13 a.m. I let it ring. Then a string of texts. Where are you? I just want to talk. Can you please not be dramatic about this? Dramatic. That word nearly made me throw my phone out Nate's window. By 1 p.m. she'd switched tactics. I didn't mean to hurt you. It didn't mean anything. Can we please talk like adults? No apology. No remorse. Just cleanup mode. She wasn't sorry for what she did, only that I found out. I didn't respond. That evening I called a lawyer. Got a referral through one of Nate's friends. I didn't know what I was doing, just that I needed to start. We didn't have kids, but the house, the accounts, the dog, that all mattered now. I told the lawyer everything. Laid it all out. He listened quietly, then asked, "Do you have proof?" I sent him the synced messages, the photos, the video. He didn't even flinch. She's sloppy. We'll make this clean. And that was it. Just like that, something in me snapped back into place. Not fixed, but aligned. I wasn't helpless. I wasn't broken. I was angry. And that anger had a direction now. That night, I drove back to the house, but not to talk. I waited until I knew she was at work. Yes, she had the nerve to go in like nothing happened, then let myself in. It was like walking into a stranger's place. Our framed wedding photo still on the hallway table, crooked. Her coffee mug in the sink. That stupid candle she always lit when she needed a night to decompress, still half-burnt, on the counter. I walked upstairs. Opened the bedroom closet. Sure enough, Orion's hoodie. Hanging there like a trophy. Bold. Untouched. I didn't touch it. Didn't need to. I packed the rest of my things. Took what was mine. Left everything else. But before I walked out, I did one last thing. I left a manila envelope on the kitchen table. Inside was a printed copy of the texts. The photos. A USB with the video. On the front of the envelope I wrote one sentence. "This is the last time you lie to me." No threats. No begging. Just a mirror. Let her see herself for once. As I closed the door behind me, I felt something strange. Not relief. Not revenge. Clarity. She burned the bridge. All I did was make sure she couldn't crawl back over it. Took her 27 hours to respond to the envelope. 27 hours of silence after 9 years together. That's how long it took her to process the fact that I wasn't coming back. That I'd walked out, not just physically, but completely. And I didn't do it yelling, or throwing plates, or begging her to explain. I left with proof. And that made her dangerous. The message came in at 7:19 p.m. 2 nights later. I was still crashing at Nate's, pretending to eat dinner while my stomach was too twisted to keep anything down. I'll never forget the text. Word for word. "Wow. Real mature, Matt. After everything, this is how you handle it? You think you're better than me now? You're pathetic. No apology. No ownership. Just fire." I sat there staring at it, and for a second I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was so predictable. Like watching someone who's never been told no finally realize the rules apply to them too. 3 minutes later, another one. "You don't even know the full story. But whatever. Run to your brother. Hide behind your little lawyer. You always were spineless." There it was. The real Jessica. The one who'd been hiding under that curated, sweet, Instagram-perfect wife persona. The one only I ever got glimpses of. And even then, I always excused it. Told myself she was just under pressure or going through something. But now she had no mask left to wear. She was exposed. And the thing about people like her is they hate nothing more than being seen. I didn't reply. Didn't need to. The next day, she sent a picture of our dog, Cooper. Just him lying on the couch, looking sad. No caption. Just a guilt trip in JPEG form. As if I didn't miss him. As if she hadn't used that dog as a prop every time she needed to play the loving wife on holidays. I loved Cooper like he was my kid. But I wasn't going to let her use him as leverage. I called my lawyer. "We'll need to make a note," I said. "She's escalating." "She's unraveling," he corrected. "Keep the messages. Don't respond." That weekend, Melissa messaged me on Facebook. We were never close. She always looked at me like I was the boring husband dragging Jess down. But this time, her tone was different. "Matt, I didn't know how bad it got. I'm sorry. I thought it was just flirting. I didn't know she was seeing someone else behind your back. I didn't answer her either, because none of them were sorry when it mattered. I was done entertaining people who only cared when the truth made them uncomfortable. That night, Jess called. First time since I left. I let it go to voicemail. She didn't leave one. She called again. Then finally, on the fourth try, a voicemail. Matt, I don't know what you want from me. I messed up. Okay? But you're just gonna walk away from everything? You think this makes you strong? It doesn't. It makes you cold. Cold. That word landed. And it stuck. Because I wasn't cold. I was numb. And the difference? She did that. Sunday morning, she showed up. Didn't call. Didn't text. Just appeared like a ghost from a life I was trying to bury. I was in the garage with Nate, sorting through boxes of old stuff he swore he'd throw out 5 years ago. We heard the knock. Not the doorbell. Just the soft, rhythmic knock. Polite. Calculated. The kind of knock someone uses when they don't know what they're walking into. Nate opened the door. I was right behind him. And there she was. Jessica. Standing on the porch with her designer tote bag slung over one shoulder. Makeup done like she was headed to brunch. Not walking into the ruins of her marriage. She looked composed. Too composed. Her expression was calm, but her eyes were twitching all over the place. Calculating, scanning, measuring. She wasn't here for closure. She was here for control. Hi, she said, like we were strangers. Nate didn't move. Didn't greet her. Just shifted to block the door slightly more. She looked past him to me. Matt, can we talk? I didn't answer. Just stared. Because what was there to say? Please, she added. Just 5 minutes. I nodded once and stepped outside, past Nate. We walked a few feet into the driveway. I stayed in the sunlight. She stayed in the shade. Felt symbolic. I didn't come to fight, she said first. Then what did you come for? She looked down, bit her lip. One of those classic moves she used to use when she wanted something. To explain, she said. To try, I guess. You had your chance. You used it to call me spineless. She flinched. Only slightly, but I saw it. I was angry. No, I said. You were exposed. Silence. I want to say that I didn't mean for it to get this far. Ryan wasn't supposed to be. Jessica, stop. She blinked. Don't rewrite this like it was an accident. I said. You made decisions. You chose him. Over and over again. Don't stand here and act like you tripped into it. She crossed her arms, jaw tightening. You weren't perfect either. I laughed. Right? That's where we are now. I didn't cheat, Jess. You disappeared. She snapped suddenly. You've been checked out for years. Always working. Always tired. Like I wasn't even there. I stared at her. Really stared. You know what the worst part of all this is? I said, voice low. You're not even sorry. You're just mad you lost the upper hand. Her mouth opened, then shut. No words. You lied to me, Jess. Over and over. And now you want to talk? What, because it got inconvenient? Because you think I'm about to wreck your image? She didn't respond. So I kept going. I gave you everything. My time. My loyalty. My silence. You took all of it and gave it to someone who couldn't even spell commitment. Her face twisted. You think you're better than me now? No, I said. I've always been better than what you treated me like. She stepped back like I'd shoved her. I loved you, she said, voice cracking for the first time. No, Jess. You loved being adored. I turned and walked back into the house. She didn't follow. Didn't knock again. I stood by the window and watched her sit in the car for 5 minutes before driving off. She didn't cry. She just stared out the windshield like she was already thinking of how to make herself the victim in the next version of the story. I didn't care anymore. Let her spin it. The truth was already out. The next few days were quiet. Too quiet. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that buzzes just beneath your skin, like something's about to happen. And with Jessica, that feeling usually meant she was regrouping, rewriting, rebranding. I stayed off social media, but Nate didn't. Tuesday afternoon. He came into the kitchen with his phone in one hand and that tight, warning look on his face. "You need to see this," he said. It was a Facebook post. Her Facebook. A glossy, filtered selfie of her and Cooper on the couch. His face pressed up against her side like he knew how to perform sadness on camera. And the caption? "Sometimes the people you trust most hurt you in ways you never imagined. Trying to stay strong. Broken heart." I stared at the screen for a solid minute, waiting for it to make sense. Didn't. Because somehow, she had managed to make herself the victim in a story where she was the one setting the fire. Thousands of likes. Dozens of comments from friends, family, co-workers. "You don't deserve this. Sending you strength, babe. If you need anything, I'm here. Men are trash." One even said. He never looked happy in photos anyway. I had to put the phone down. Had to breathe. She wasn't just rewriting the story, she was erasing me from it. I wasn't the husband who gave everything. I was the cold, distant villain who left her broken. It would have been funny if it wasn't so disgusting. But I stayed quiet. Let it go. Because the truth was still on my side. And I wasn't about to start slinging mud in the comments section like some reality show reject. No. My response would come in the form of finality. That evening I met with my lawyer again. We started formal paperwork. I handed over everything. The timeline. The messages. The cloud backups. The video. And I signed the initial divorce filing. That pen felt heavier than it should have. Like with each stroke, I was cutting away the version of my life I thought I'd still be living. It hurt. But it also healed something. When I left the office, I checked my phone. 2 missed calls from her. I didn't return them. Then, right before midnight, a text came through. "You really filed?" Just like that. I stared at it for a long time. No more spinning. No more games. So I wrote back. "You burned the house down. I just made sure you didn't walk away with the matches." No response. Not that night. Not the next day. But by Thursday, she started unraveling publicly. Melissa sent me a screenshot. Don't ask me why she suddenly decided to play ally, guilt maybe, or just loving drama. Jess had posted a long, tear-stained video to her Instagram story. It was all there, the shaky camera, the voice cracking in rehearsed emotion, the line that made me want to punch a wall. "I just feel like I was abandoned. Like no matter how hard I tried, I wasn't enough." She was performing. Full mask. Lights on. Audience watching. And I knew exactly what it was. Damage control. But I wasn't interested in saving her image anymore. I was busy saving myself. Friday morning, I got a call from her mother. I almost didn't answer. I stared at the screen for a while, thumb hovering. But curiosity won. Sandra never called. Not even when Jess and I were planning the wedding back then. It was all filtered through Jessica, like she didn't want her family getting too close to me. So when I picked up and heard her voice, soft and uncertain, it caught me off guard. "Matt," she said. "I just wanted to ask if you're okay." There was a pause. I waited, unsure if this was a trap. "I saw Jessica's video," she added. "She's not doing well." I couldn't help it, I laughed. "Quiet, bitter? Did she tell you why?" Silence. Then Sandra said, "She told me you left out of nowhere. That you got cold. Did she also tell you about the man she's been sleeping with for months?" Another pause. Longer this time. "No," she said softly. Of course she didn't. So I told her. The entire story. Not angry. Not dramatic. Just the plain, ugly truth. Every lie, every night she came home smelling like someone else, every excuse she fed me while she disappeared behind that glowing phone screen. Sandra didn't interrupt once. When I finished, she let out a long breath. "I knew something was wrong," she said. "She's been off. And mean. Not just to you." I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "She wants attention," I said. "Not forgiveness." Sandra didn't argue. Instead, she said something I didn't expect. "She's always been good at pretending she's the one who's hurt." That sat heavy in the air. "I'm sorry, Matt," she added. "You didn't deserve that. And you don't have to talk to her if you don't want to." I thanked her, ended the call, and just sat there. Feeling something I couldn't name. Validated, maybe. Or finally seen. By noon, the text came in. "So you called my MOM now? Seriously?" Low blow. That was it. No follow-up. No shame. Just more of that poisoned ego cracking under its own weight. And I realized something important right then. She wasn't unraveling because she missed me. She was unraveling because I refused to play my part anymore. The role of the dependable, quiet husband who would eat her lies and thank her for the scraps. She needed me broken so she could be the strong one. But I wasn't broken. I was awake. That weekend, Nate and I drove to the house with a moving truck. I had a scheduled window per the lawyer, and I wasn't about to give her a reason to cry harassment on social media. She wasn't there when we arrived, thank God. I boxed up the last of my things. Some books. My old watch. A few shirts she never let me wear because they weren't stylish enough. I took those too. Before I left, I stood in the bedroom doorway. Looked at the unmade bed, the dresser still cluttered with her makeup, the empty spot where my side of the closet used to be. It didn't feel like home anymore. It felt like a crime scene. And I wasn't the victim. I was the survivor. As I walked out the front door, I left my key on the counter. That house? That life? She could keep it. It wasn't mine anymore. I didn't hear from her for a week after the move. A whole 7 days of silence. No texts, no missed calls, no cryptic Instagram posts, just this eerie calm like she was holding her breath and waiting for her next chance to strike. And I knew better than to relax. Jessica never stayed quiet unless she was loading the next play. Then, on day 8, she showed up again. But this time? It wasn't my brother's house. It was my job. She walked into the lobby like she belonged there, heels clicking, sunglasses on, confidence worn like armor. She even smiled at the receptionist. My coworkers saw her, which meant the questions started before I even got the email alert from front desk. Your wife's here to see you. I nearly choked on my coffee. I told them to send her away. But she was already in the elevator before I finished the sentence. So I stood there, bracing for impact, watching those elevator numbers tick up like a bomb timer. She walked into my office like nothing was wrong. Like we were still us. No apology. No hesitation. Just, we need to talk. In private. I stood up, walked over, and closed the door, more for my dignity than her comfort. She sat down in the guest chair like she was the one running the meeting. You can't just keep ignoring me, Matt, she said, all breathy and faux hurt, like she hadn't publicly played the abandoned wife just a few days earlier. I absolutely can, I replied. She flinched. So what, this is it? You're just gone. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. She leaned forward. I made a mistake, okay? I panicked. I didn't know how to fix it. Ryan wasn't serious, he was never serious. You think I don't know that now? I raised an eyebrow. So what was it? Fun? A break from being married to a guy who paid the bills and showed up and loved you for real. She looked down at her hands. Didn't speak. Then, the most unbelievable thing happened. She started to cry. Not the wild sobbing from her Instagram story. These were quiet tears, real or not, I couldn't tell anymore. Because everything with Jessica had a motive. I hate who I've become, she whispered. But I hate this more. Not having you. Not even hearing your voice. She looked up at me, eyes red. I miss you, Matt. I miss us. I wanted to feel something. Anger. Sympathy. Longing. Anything. But I didn't. There was a time I would have fallen for that moment. A time I would have taken her hand, tried to salvage whatever broken version of love we had left. But that time died the night she laughed in my face and told me I lost her because I wasn't enough. I sat back in my chair. I don't miss you, I said, calm and final. I miss the person I thought you were. And she's gone. She wiped her face with the sleeve of her overpriced cardigan, then stood up. You really think you'll be better off without me? I didn't even blink. I already am. She stood there for a moment like she was waiting for me to change my mind. I didn't. She turned, walked to the door, paused with her hand on the knob. When this blows up in your face, when you're alone, you'll remember this. And you'll regret it. I almost laughed. Jessica, I said, you were the only thing in my life I regret. The door clicked shut behind her. And I exhaled for the first time in days. The divorce was finalized 34 days after she walked out of my office. No more delays. No drawn-out battles. Just a signature, a lawyer's handshake, and a clean break. She didn't contest anything. Not the house. Not the car. Not even Cooper, though I had to fight to get shared custody of him. Her lawyer said she wasn't emotionally stable enough to care for him full-time right now, which honestly was the most honest statement in the entire process. The day the papers were finalized, I took myself out for breakfast. Alone. No phone. No distractions. Just a plate of eggs and coffee that didn't taste like anything special, but that's not what mattered. What mattered was that it was quiet. My quiet. Not the kind of silence that hides a storm behind it. Not the kind of silence I used to feel sitting across the table from a woman who wouldn't look me in the eye while she texted someone else under the table. This silence was mine. And it was the best thing I'd tasted in years. Jessica? She didn't reach out again. Not after the court date. Not after the final papers arrived at her condo. I thought she might send one last emotional Hail Mary. A voicemail, maybe. A letter. Something dramatic. Something to remind me how she wanted to be the last voice in my head even if she wasn't in my life anymore. But she didn't. And I think I know why. Because she knew. There was nothing left to twist. No guilt to manipulate. No soft place to land. I was done. Nate and I went out for drinks a week later. First time in a long time I laughed without feeling like I was borrowing someone else's happiness. He raised his glass and said, to surviving the storm. I clinked mine back, to never walking into one blind again. You know what the crazy part is? I don't hate her. Not anymore. I hate what she did. I hate how easy it was for her. I hate that I had to burn everything down just to finally feel clean again. But her? She's just a person. A broken one. The kind that cuts anyone who tries to hold them. The kind that turns love into leverage. And me? I'm just a guy who finally stopped letting himself bleed for someone who couldn't even say sorry. If you're reading this and you're in the middle of it, if you're waking up at 3 a.m. trying to convince yourself that what you saw wasn't what you saw, that the distance is just a phase, that the lies are just stress. Stop. Look at what's in front of you. Not what you hope they are. Not what they used to be. But what they are right now. And if it hurts to look at, walk away. You'll heal. You'll breathe again. And one morning, without even realizing it, you'll wake up and the first thing you feel won't be confusion or doubt or dread. It'll be peace. And damn, it's worth everything.